Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast, golf headlines include Lexi versus the boys in Vegas and another back-to-back winner on tour, plus a jet-setting week ahead for the world's best, and a big content announcement about our next trip, which is coming right around the corner. We're tuned into the Austin Gamblers, and we have a special guest joining the show this week, the CEO of the Gamblers. That's right, the owner of the team, JJ Gottsch, getting us hyped up for the PRB Team Series Championship this weekend in Vegas. And it's a Thanksgiving menu reveal, fried burgers and donuts when we always end with food. All of it brought to you by our good friends at Desert Fox Golf. It's that time of the year, Mike. A lot of events for 2024 being planned. If you're out there or you're part of a golf event or you are at a golf event that's going to be planned for 2024 and you think it needs great golf products at it, then you need to hit us up on Instagram and make sure that Desert Fox Golf products are there. Desert Fox Golf makes the phone caddy. They make everything else great for your cart, including, let's say, the cigar holder, the Swing A tumbler, all sorts of different accessories for your bag, your cart, and your golf experience. And if you want them at your next tournament or event, be sure to hit us up at COL Podcast on Instagram. Just send us the event details, let us know who's running the event, and we'll take care of the rest. If that event has Desert Fox Golf products at it, you will get a cash referral just for hooking us up with that connection. That's right. You out there, the golfer who is just going and playing and living your life, will get a cash referral for getting Desert Fox Golf products at your next event. Again, DM us on Instagram at COL Podcast with the event info. We'll take it from there. Thanks to our friends at Desert Fox Golf.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf and the Live Take app. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, they were at TPC Summerlin in Las Vegas for the Shriners Children's Open. Always a fun week there. And a lot of different things to look at that happened during the course of the week. Of course, Lexi Thompson was in the field. We'll talk about her in a moment. But Tom Kim is now the two-time defending champion in Vegas and the youngest player since Tiger Woods to win 3 PGA Tour titles. Let the comparisons begin to the GOAT.
You just did that. We have a Tom Kim Tiger Woods comparison in the first minute or two here. That was pretty fast. Nice work getting that one in. How about Tom Kim with 3 quick wins, and then he got this second one, Mike, at the Shriners, having just turned 21. He was 20 last year when he won in Vegas. They asked him how he's going to celebrate as a 21-year-old in Vegas, and he said he's going to get back to his Airbnb, and he's got this big piece of chocolate that he's been waiting to eat. Well, what a raucous celebration in Sin City for Tom Kim, huh?
I mean, I do that with sweets. You can't eat it until you accomplish something. Like, I'm going to eat this, but not until I finish cleaning the kitchen and doing my laundry.
That young boy is so disciplined. So shout out to Tom Kim. He's got the discipline of a young man right there, and a lion heart. He's a tough competitor, and he's showing it now. Like you said, 3 wins. It's as minimal as it sounds. When you get yourself in one of those little mini Tiger categories for the start of your career, it means, generally speaking, you're going to be on tour forever, and you're going to be a lifer in some facet of the game. We don't know what his true level of success and what his plateau is for his career, but undoubtedly, he's going to be winning a lot on the PGA Tour where the game is consistent, as we've seen the last 2 years here in Vegas.
Yeah, and he followed up a mediocre start, let's say, with 268s. He had that 62 on Saturday to put himself at the top of the leaderboard and back in contention, because it really didn't look like he was gonna challenge that much for the championship there. And it looked like for a while that, the odds between who was going to make the cut, was it going to be Lexi or was Tom Kim going to win? It looked like neither was going to take it.
It's funny you mentioned that last week, and bang, here we are, right? Yeah. And both of those were on watch. We were on the Tom Kim win watch, and we were on the Lexi Thompson cut watch, which I wasn't sure what we were going to get product and scoring wise from Lexi. We had diatribed that she's been hitting the ball better in recent weeks, but putting has just been her absolute nemesis. It showed in a big moment at the Solheim Cup, and we were wondering what the putter was going to look like. It looked great for a majority of Thursday and Friday, and like she was legit flirting with the cut line for the entire 36 holes. Ended up missing by a couple, but overall, I was taken aback and pretty impressed with her play.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have a great start to the week with that 73 on Thursday, but a strong 69 on Friday. And really, that 73 too, we got to remember that 73 that she had in round one. I'm pulling it up to remind myself. She had that double bogey 6 on the 7th, which was not a great way to play your front 9.
I mean, in a tournament like that, a double bogey feels like an 8.
Yeah. But was able to rebound and really kind of turn that game around on day 2 with that 69. So do we think we'll see Lexi in another PGA Tour event and making the cut?
I think this was enough juice that another tournament will try it with their sponsor exemption. I don't know if we're going to see it this fall. There's maybe a few more contenders where that's still possible for some November events. Maybe the RSM in your neighborhood. I'm trying to think of logistically a course that isn't going to be too long and demanding on her end. She hit a driver on a short par 4, just like the pros were
she
at
drove
Summerlin.
The green, right? Yeah.
So the distance really isn't an issue for her now that I actually say that, but it's just going to be coming down to making those last birdie and par bids late on Friday. That's what did her in. She had the hot streak to start Friday, but it's intriguing, the idea of her playing future PGA Tour events. I think she did justify with her performance in one the opportunity to do it again. I'm not sure it's going to happen this season, though.
We'll keep an eye on it for sure. And it was exciting just to see her out there playing with the boys. The LPGA was also in Shanghai at the People's Republic of China for the Buick LPGA Shanghai, where Angel Yin took the W over Lilia Vu.
Finally. This was a little bit of a payback, too. If you remember, Lilia Vu won the Chevron here in Houston in a playoff over Angel Yin. And Angel Yin returned the favor by beating Vu in a playoff of her own, finally getting that first win. She'd been on the precipice of winning a few times. Definitely one of the more bright personalities and more entertaining personalities. One of the top mic'd up golfers, I'd say, on the LPGA Tour. Angel Yin's always fun to watch behind the scenes and on the course. She wears her emotions right on her sleeve. So it was very cool to see her get that win, get that monkey off her back. Definitely going to be the first of many. She's right in that kind of group of younger American players that we could potentially see in future Solheim Cups as well, too. So shout out to Angel Yin for getting it done over there.
The LPGA will stay in Asia. They're in the little Asian swing right now. They're going up to the Republic of Korea for the BMW Ladies Championship at Siwon Hills in Gyeonggi-do.
Wow, I was wondering if you're going to give that a go.
I don't know if I said that right. Those, it's very different sounds than we're used to doing in the States.
We're trying. The LPGA is an international, culturally diverse, culture-rich tour, and we're trying to level with the world of golf out there. So we appreciate seeing the unique destinations in Asia this time of year for the LPGA, and then we're also kind of getting to that time of year where we're going to see some interesting night and midnight golf in Asia and Australia on the men's side of the game as well too. So kind of a little bit of a quirky time on the golf calendar, but still some fun tournament golf to be seen.
This next weekend, it's not this weekend, coming weekend, Alex, but the next weekend, we're actually going to be taking another trip together.
Yeah, it's trip time. I couldn't get enough of you, so I had to plan something immediately to spend more time with you. That's what it was.
That's nice that you think that about me.
I don't really. That's BS, but it's going to be really cool to see your place. I hadn't seen your place in Savannah. Get the lay of the land, take me downtown, show me the highlights. It'll be a fun weekend. And the trip part is not just for me to see you, but it's in the name of some business and content as well. A very interesting one, Mike. You're kind of indoctrinated into this Georgia college football scene. Your wife works at a Georgia college. You've seen what the college football does in that part of the world. And Georgia, Florida is like a rivalry of its own that you've seen a lot of in recent years as well, too. Yeah,
I mean, we're more in Georgia's southern territory here. Go Eagles. Than we are maybe UGA territory. But you certainly do see what happens when UGA wins a national title multiple times.
Yeah, back-to-back, going for the three-peat of their own. Speaking of three-peats. So Georgia and Florida are on full display at this event that we're going to be going to. You will remember we interviewed Danny Wuerffel. That's right, the Florida Gator legend, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion. Check the archives for that interview, which aired, I believe, in late January or early February. That was a great conversation. And off that, we stayed in touch with Danny and his team, and we are going to be covering his beneficiary golf tournament for the Danny Wuerffel Foundation, the Desire Cup. It pits Florida and Georgia alumni against each other all on the same course. And it is at, Mike, the lovely TPC Sawgrass. So scratch my back. If we're going to get the invite out to TPC Sawgrass, you best believe we're going to be on the grounds for the tournament.
Now, unfortunately, we're not in the stadium, of course.
We're not going to be making swings on the 17th green. I know that's the next thought in everyone's head, but it's probably the second best thing because we're going to see the entire grounds up close. We'll give everyone kind of a lay of the land of the tour. We're going to be interviewing players out there. We're going to be doing content on the course. So we'll be flexing our content muscles and meeting some new people along the way.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward. It's Florida. It's October.
Yeah.
It's Jacksonville. It's right by the water. It's TPC Sawgrass. It's going to be beautiful.
Quintessential golf event. Again, it's the Desire Cup. Check out desirecup.com, their website as well, too, and everything that they're doing for the beneficiary charities. Looking forward to connecting with Danny again. You're going to see all of that next week on our Instagram feed at COL Podcast, and we'll have a video coming soon for the trip as well.
Speaking of videos, if you're not checking us out on YouTube, why, I guess maybe is the question. We got some cool stuff going up there. Of course, Alex draining birdies is finally on video, and it's part of his little Illinois golf trip video that we got up there right now. And then your time at the LPGA event it's the other week is going to be up there as well.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, the Illinois golf video was fun. Nice to get the birdie on camera. Granted, it was a par 3 where I hit a hard wedge. It wasn't anything super special, but you always got to revel in the moment. Yeah, birdies are great and they count. And if I get it on camera, it's worth you seeing. So check out the YouTube. And yeah, that's right. The next one up is going to be my visit to Dallas a couple weeks ago. I went to the Ascendant LPGA. Got some really cool behind the scenes content and walked 9 holes with Annie Park, who's been on the show before. Talked with her and the caddy. We got a little mic'd up moment. So that's going to be a really cool video coming to the page as well, too.
All right, let's look ahead to this weekend. It is the ZOZO Championship. And Keagan Bradley is looking to repeat. Will we have 2 straight weeks of repeat champions?
Keagan, yeah. I actually did a double take when you told me he was in the field this week because, I don't know, it seemed a little sudden, but then I realized he's defending, so it makes all the sense in the world. But will be good to see him back. You just can't help think of the Ryder Cup snub that he had a couple weeks ago. And I just feel like that team over in Italy maybe needed a little bit more firepower in the team room and just a little bit more Red Bull energy. And I think he would have been the type of guy to deliver that. So I'm sure he's going to want to continue to showcase his game. You know, the way his brain operates, he's like counting down the days to the next Ryder Cup team announcement. So we'll see if he comes out with a little extra motivation to defend the crown.
I mean, you said you were surprised to see Keagan Bradley in this field, but we also have Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler, Sonjay M is out there. Sahith Theegala, now a PGA Tour winner, is in the field. And major winner Hideki Matsuyama is out there as well. So this is a pretty good field going on.
It is pretty good. Shout out Xander, Morikawa, and Ricky off the unsuccessful Ryder Cup, getting out there to play in the ZOZO, a tournament that, remember, Tiger Woods won in recent years. So it's funny to think about that. Little Tiger buzz, by the way, as well, too, around the Hero World Challenge, Mike. On the website, they left one sponsors exemption, and they called it a TBA sponsors exemption. I don't think what's happening there is what we all think it is, but I like that they're playing along and keeping us along for the ride, at least.
Why don't we just call it Tiger Spot? Let's just call it Tiger Spot.
We all know it's Tiger Spot. So we'll be on the watch for that, and we'll be watching the ZOZO this week as well.
All right, let's switch over to Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. It's beautiful weather in Savannah, Alex. I hope it stays this way when you're here in a week and a half.
Yes.
And in October, when it gets cool, that means it's festival season. That means there's a whole lot going on throughout the city.
I'm going to be there during festival season. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we got art fairs going on almost every weekend right now. And the week you're here actually will be the SCAD Savannah Film Festival. So that'll be happening. I don't think we're going to go see anything, but it'll be happening.
We'll be there for the buzz. That's all that counts.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this past weekend, we went to a nice little art fair, got ourselves some pottery, Didn't buy any other fine art. We thought about it, but we saved ourselves. And this weekend we're going to another jazz and art festival that we'll check out and see if we can find anything good to
Aren't you cultured?
up on the
Love
walls
that.
here.
Jazz and art festival. Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's
Good
nice
stuff. Festival season in Savannah. I look forward to checking it out there when I visit next week. We're tuned into a couple things. Let's get to the quick Easter egg and get our thoughts on that before we get into this week's surprise guest. Mike, the launch of the Frasier reboot, I'm very excited about on Paramount Plus. I'm not going to check it out until they release all the episodes, but another Easter egg came down this past week. Jerry Seinfeld on stage in Boston hinted at something in the works with Larry David that could or could not be some sort of Seinfeld reunion. What are your first thoughts when you hear that headline come down?
Trepidation.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word.
It was. They're doing. He said that they were thinking of doing something because he knows that the show ended on a poor note. It's hard to end any show on a good note. Tell me,
they caught a lot of flack for that finale. Was that 25 years ago now? And
it also, and a lot of people didn't realize that that final conversation that Jerry and George have in the prison about the button on the shirt is the very first conversation they have in the pilot, which is kind of hard to watch unless A, hard to watch because you got to find it, and B, hard to watch because it's not very good.
Yeah, that was a full circle thing they did there, kind of with the beginning and the end. I mean, I know people don't love the actual jail results, but the way the conversation ended the last episode and started the first one is a very unique way to go out. And some fans may have seen that and some may not. But the bottom line here is, we're both going into this a little nervous at the headline of a possible Seinfeld reunion. What I can tell you is I'm confident that if Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David are the two men that are sitting down together and putting this together themselves without too many talking heads in the room, it's bound to be funny. That I am confident, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because I do feel like Seinfeld humor is pretty timeless. I mean, I turned it on actually after you sent me this headline. I was just looking for something to watch and turned it back on again. And I was somewhere in the middle of season 5. And season 5 is just gold. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. It had the rain jacket episode, with also has Jerry and his girlfriend making out during Schindler's List. It had the Babka episode, right episode before that as well. And I'm trying to remember. The Close Talker is in there as well. The Close Talker episode. I mean, there's a lot of really good episodes in the heart of this show. And I just don't want to ruin what already is a fantastic series.
We're Seinfeldaholics. There's no way around it. So it's just going to be interesting. We're going to go in cautiously optimistic, let's say, and hopefully.
Let me say this: I will watch it. I don't care what the reviews of the show is. If they bring it back, I am going to watch it. That's for damn sure.
Love that. All right, there's the official address from us on the Seinfeld Easter egg. We'll be watching that news as well too. Let's get to part 2 of our Tuned In because it's all about the Austin Gamblers. They're in the PBR Team Championships. You remember, Mike? I went to the professional bull riding event. That YouTube video is out where I went inside the shark cage, an unreal experience if you haven't been to a professional bull riding event. And the Austin, Texas home team they've won the regular season and they're leading the standings heading into the PBR Championship Finals, which are this weekend, Mike. They're going to be on CBS and the whole thing, getting national coverage in Vegas. And so who better to have on the show than to pump us up appropriately for the PBR Finals than the owner himself. That's right, JJ Gottsch here on the Course of Life.
Yeah, this is exciting because I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't think I have a team. I don't know if there's a team in Georgia, actually. Is there a team in Georgia? Because if not, I'm an Austin Gambler fan. There's not. No, you're an honorary Gamblers fan as well. And I'm going to say that I think this is our first sports team owner on the show. You think that's safe to say? I think so, yes. Okay, yes. First we're moving up in the world. Joining the Course of Life here in a special tuned in / guest hybrid right here. Yep. And we'll get to this conversation with JJ in just a second. But first, let's talk about Live Take. Because, Alex, right now it looks like my losing streak of about 20 live takes that we've been doing on this, where we share our opinion to a titular question that we choose, and we let the internet decide who's right. My losing streak is likely going to continue in some way here.
Oh, good. I was wondering. I got scared there thinking there was a comeback in store, but I'm glad to hear the streak's alive. Yeah, it's the Live Take app. You and I debate everything. We're now getting into some really sad debates, and we'll get to our football teams in a bit. But if you know anything about that, you know it's fun to laugh at our misery right now. If you're watching any NFL. So you can check out those debates, golf debates, and everything else in the world of sports. Again, like you mentioned, the Live Take app. Download today. Let your take be heard. Challenge us. Vote. Let your voice be heard as well. Next stop, Vegas, indeed, for the Austin Gamblers, who are back competing for the PBR team's title off of another regular season win. And we've got the CEO, JJ Gottsch, joining us here on the Course of Life. JJ, how you doing today?
Good, bud. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm fresh off my visit, and our audience got to hear all about me attending Gambler Days. It was the first PBR event I'd been to, but I had a lot of fun all weekend at the Moody Center. One of many winning weekends for the team, the Gamblers, this season. I'm imagining the winning isn't getting old, is it? Are you sick of winning yet this season?
No, and we needed every one that we got, quite honestly. So we had an amazing season. We set the record for wins in a season with 19. We set the record for event wins in a season with 4. And we needed every single one of them because it came down to the final weekend of the regular season. And we won the regular season by 1 game. We had to win on the final day to win it all. So definitely not sick of it at all. In fact, would have loved to have 1 or 2 more in our back pocket. But yeah, really, it's been an amazing season. Our sophomore season with PBR and PBR Team Series, the Gamblers, to be able to be back-to-back regular season champions. Jose Vitor Leme, back-to-back MVP. And then, as you mentioned, a really successful, high-energy home event with Gambler Days in the Moody Center was really probably the highlight of the year for us. We went 3-0 that weekend in front of our home crowd. So a lot of fun. And I know that I think yours is a big golfing demographic. And a couple of us actually went out at the golf course the next day after Gambler Days in celebration of the weekend. So a lot of fun this year.
I saw that. Where did you guys get to play?
So we've got a really good relationship and partnership with Driftwood Golf and Ranch Club.
Nice.
Which is about 20 minutes southwest of town. So I took one of our riders, Austin Richardson, down there and got to play with the head pro, Tim Phelps, and just really enjoyed a day kind of to ourselves and got away from bull riding and just really enjoyed that experience. And it's Driftwood's just an amazing place.
Definitely. That's a really cool course I need to get out to. I've heard a lot of good things about it. And you mentioned Austin, who we had on the show about a month or 2 ago, right around the time of Gambler Days. And I think what he speaks to is the depth of the roster, specifically for the Austin Gamblers. And I'll tell you, riders 1 through 5 and beyond, you see 5 on any given night, but speak to the depth of the Gamblers and how that's allowed you guys to be so successful all season.
Yeah, it's interesting, the talent pool in the PBR. I mean, obviously the courage of any one of these guys that puts their hand in a bull rope and gets on top of a bull is they're a pretty special person. But when you look across the league, and not only just with our team, but across the league, you've got some really guys that are just the superstars of the sport. We've got a couple of those, obviously, with Jose Vitor Leme and Dalton Castle. Then you got a little bit of a drop, and then you've got another drop that kind of goes to the third tier. Well, it's interesting for us because obviously we got Jose and Dalton, who the analysts have kind of called our pocket aces with our Gamblers theme. But then really for us, we have the ability to have up to 12 guys on our roster. We've only carried 11 just because we felt like that, we didn't really know if there was anybody else out there that fit the mold for us. Just wanted to make sure that whoever was on our roster got enough reps. And so it was difficult this year, quite honestly, because once you get to riders 3 through 11, there's not a lot of separation amongst those guys.
Right.
And so it made it difficult each week. But to your point, having that depth, because this sport, like any sport, depth is important, but this one more so than others, because you see in sports like the NFL where if your starting quarterback gets hurt, what that can do to a team. In basketball, if your point guard gets hurt. Well, same thing for us. If we have a situation to have Jose or Dalton get hurt, not only are we going to need depth, but we're going to need some guys to step into some different roles. And so for us this year, fortunately, we weren't bitten too hard by the injury bug. We had Dalton got stepped on with a couple weeks left in the season. He sat out for a weekend. Jose sat out one, for a couple games, but for the most part, it was really riders, 3 through 11 that depending on the night, we needed, one or more of them to step up. But, so depth is key in this sport, probably as much, if not more so than any other sport.
Definitely, yeah. It was cool to see the depth on display for the gamblers. And the one thing I learned a little bit more about being a first-time attendee is that not all bowls are created equal. So it's very interesting to see how certain riders fit certain bowls on certain days. And that's something that I'd encourage any sports fan to go see for themselves regarding the depth of the roster. But you mentioned it at the top. Let's talk about the GOAT in your back pocket. When I first heard, JJ, I'm a Boston sports fan originally. When I first heard that Jose Vitor Leme was getting compared to being the Tom Brady of bull riding, I was immediately intrigued, but I'll have to say he lived up to it at Gambler Days. What separates him from the rest of the riders out there?
He's the total package. He's very cerebral. When you talk about someone like Tom Brady or a Derek Jeter, they're very calculated. They're very meticulous. Their entire day, not just when they're performing on the field, but when you watch those guys, and obviously got to follow Tom throughout his career when he was playing, is that, every interview and every docuseries and every podcast, he was very calculated, methodical, typically didn't say anything that he didn't mean, days very curated from the moment that they wake up, what they put in their body, the workouts that they do. So Jose, like those guys, is very calculated, very methodical, extremely disciplined in everything that he does. He's got a competitive nature like a Michael Jordan, just absolutely does not want to lose, and will put everything into it. And then he's just remarkably talented. He's from a bull rider standpoint, when you think about the size of bull riders, you can't be too tall or you can't weigh that much. Just because physics and the nature of it, and the taller you are, the more you weigh, it makes it a more difficult sport to be successful at. So Jose being around 5'5" to 5'6", weighing around 140, his perfect size, his body makeup, his strength, the workouts that he does to be able to not only stay strong but not get too big, to stay flexible and nimble. He's just a complete package. And not only, his drive from an individual standpoint, but one of the things that, he's really been trying to prove, and the thing that I think he's been most proud about with these regular season championships as we, go to Vegas to try to get the Team Series postseason championship, is that he wants to be seen as a team leader, somebody that can lead a group of men and into success like other, guys in team sports.
Definitely.
He's got an idol of, he grew up playing soccer in Brazil, and his idol is Ronaldo. And so, he's just a different cat. And, we knew how good he was and how good he was going to be just from a bull rider standpoint. What we didn't really fully anticipate or appreciate, was how good of a team leader and a team captain he was going to be. And, it's been awesome. He's really like a third, he's like a third coach, to have each night when we go out there to ride.
That's great to hear from a human perspective on top of what he's doing as an athlete too. So definitely look for Jose to help lead the Gamblers to success this upcoming weekend against the PBR Team Title Championship here, all culminating in Las Vegas. And the coaching, which you mentioned, is very important. We had the Gamblers coach Michael Gaffney, the G-Man, a world champion in his own right, on the show previously. He was a great conversation and gave us a lot of perspective as to what the ride is like. But tell me a little bit about your relationship as it pertains to CEO and coach, kind of navigating, the day-to-day for the Austin Gamblers. What's that been like for you guys?
Well, it's been great, and it's been a great partnership with he and I, because his history is not one of running a professional sports franchise, and conversely, my experience in sports, contains no history of coaching bull riding and knowing the techniques or the fundamentals to be successful. So it's really allowed us to kind of stay in our lanes and really concentrate at what we're good at, but be fully supportive of each other. For him to be around him, he's just an amazing guy. He's wildly humble. He's a quiet leader. He's been an unbelievable mentor to me. He's been remarkably patient, teaching me the sport, all the intricacies of the sport from, as you mentioned, all bulls are not created equal. All bull riders are not created equal. The judging and how that takes place and the selection of not only when we get our bulls, but what guys we put on there and why. And so that's been, really great to understand that part of it. And then, we work together as we're making roster decisions in terms of not only who we want to draft in the new rider draft each year, who we want to re-sign from our current roster, potential free agents, trades. There's nothing that either of us do in a vacuum. Any decision that we make that is going to have anything to do with our roster or our riders, we make those decisions together. Like I said, he's just been an unbelievable partner. He's been a great friend and a great mentor. And it's awesome because in the 18 months I've been in this business, I've not met one person that does not just have great things to say about him. So to have him be a part of our organization has been awesome.
Nice to hear about that partnership. Definitely it works hand in hand. And I'm curious, I knew of team movement and free agency, JJ, but are there trades? Are there trade movement going on in the team series in its young history?
Yeah. So we, fortunately, like we talked about, we didn't get bit too hard by the injury bug this year, but last year, we made two pretty significant trades during the season.
Interesting.
One in the middle where we traded, we picked up a rider by the name of Ramon DeLima. He was with the Carolina Cowboys. So we did a trade with him, and it wasn't for another rider. It was actually, we got Ramon, and then we gave the Cowboys some draft capital along with some cash. And then at the end of the year, when we were a little bit worried about Jose's health going and, to kind of close out the season and get towards the finals, is when we made probably the biggest trade, in the 2-year history of the PBR with the Kansas City Outlaws, where we were able to pick up Dalton Castle, who was their number 1 draft pick last year in the very first draft. And that was multiple draft picks, a rider, cash, a lot went into that. But, it was one of those things that worked out for both teams. They actually went on a win streak after they traded him. And then we actually went on a win streak and were able to close out the regular season title too. So that was a great trade for both of us. And as you look to this year, interestingly enough, we finished 1-2 again. And so we made those 2 trades last year. No trades this year. We had a big free agent pickup in the offseason. We picked up a guy by the name of Adriano Salgado. He was the Missouri Thunder's best rider last year. We were able to pick him up via free agency. So yeah, this team sport, although bull riding much different than anything else, all the same mechanics that you see in other sports. Like I talked about, new rider draft each year. The PBR Team Series is expanding this year, so we're actually going to have an expansion draft in early January before the new rider draft. And again, then there's free agency trades and everything else.
I like it. It really personifies the 12-month calendar, and it allows for kind of year-round chatter around the sport. So I'm intrigued to follow the roster movement as the seasons progress as well, too. Again, it's JJ Gottsch, CEO of the PBR's Austin Gamblers, joining us. Follow him on socials and Austin_Gamblers on Instagram as well. We'll lighten the mood a little bit. You're heading off to Vegas. Our audience is listening to this right in the middle of the week before you get out there. So when you get to Vegas, JJ, I got to ask, if you got 1 free hour this week, what are you playing at the casino?
Craps.
Yeah.
I grew up. My dad was a tournament craps player. He taught me and my brothers how to play the game. We had a craps table in our garage growing up. It's just a really fun game to play with when you go with a group of people. Because it's loud and it's exciting, and when the tables win and everybody gets fired up. So I would say if there's one one game that I look forward to playing is probably craps.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the sports betting angle too, because I know you got yourself a big background in baseball. Right now, as we're talking, we're watching the Astros and the Rangers in the ALCS. I know you got a little bit of a Philadelphia tie, and the Phillies are in the NLCS. What are your thoughts on baseball bets here as we get the Final Four teams squaring off?
Well, as someone that lives in Texas and has been a part of the Rangers and the Astros organizations in various forms and fashions, with my background on the minor league side, running the AA and AAA teams in Round Rock and Corpus Christi that had affiliations with both of those teams. Super exciting. I've got a lot of friends and family that are both Rangers fans and Astros
Very cool.
fans. So, the great thing is that somebody from the state of Texas is going to be in the World Series. So that's obviously
True.
exciting. And then, as you mentioned, my Phillies clinched last night. Bryce Harper and that crew are on a tear right now. So, excited about what they're going to be able to do to the Diamondbacks. I really feel good about them advancing to the World Series. And as great of a story as I think the Rangers could be this year, and as great as their hitting is, I just think at the end of the day, the experience that the Astros have in the postseason is probably going to push them forward, and we're probably going to have a repeat in the World Series with Phillies Astros again.
Yeah, we'll see if that does come to fruition. I think that's probably where the money sits right now, but it'll be interesting to follow the rest of the Major League Baseball playoffs. So you're heading up to Vegas. Curious, I know you've probably been there before, obviously with team competition, but any go-to restaurant or bar that you're going to be hitting when you get up to the Strip?
Well, this trip's going to be special for a couple of reasons. One, not only because it is the Team Series championship, but it's also going to be my wife and I's anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
While this is going on, and we're actually on the Wednesday before competition starts, we're going to go to the new Sphere and catch the U2 residency.
Oh, wow. I've heard a lot about that venue. I've seen some amazing videos. I think you're in for a treat.
Yeah, so we're big U2 fans. We've seen them at numerous venues. Haven't seen them in a little bit, so we're excited to see them again. And like you have heard nothing but amazing things about that venue. In terms of my kind of go-to restaurant that probably is a little bit off the Strip, and there's a place called Lotus of Siam. And so if you're a fan of any Asian-inspired food, Lotus of Siam is my go-to.
Noted. We'll add it to the list for sure. JJ, thanks again for hopping on the Course of Life. Really appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully we're bringing that title back to Austin and we'll celebrate accordingly. Best of luck to the gamblers this week as well, too.
Alex, thanks so much. We'll see you, bud.
And we're back. Great chat there with JJ. How jealous are we, Alex, that he is going to go to the Sphere to start off his week in Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, that really hit hard for me. I've been seeing every video in the world of shows at the Sphere. And by the way, shout out to U2. I was thinking about this in my head. Remember how U2 found a way to be the only band that threw their entire album on everyone's phone in the world? Remember that?
Yep. Yep.
Now they're like the only band ever to play the Sphere. It feels like I haven't seen anybody else play the Sphere except U2. The residency continues, but I'm very jealous that JJ is going to get to go to that show to start off the Vegas week. That looks like an amazing scene. I don't know if I'm ever really going to get to a concert there. I hear they just do like a general show for like $50 where you can just see the wonder of it in about a half an hour. So I might do something like that, but the Sphere definitely on my list for the next Vegas trip.
You need to play on that course that now has the Sphere staring at you on a couple holes. That's right there.
Yeah, it's like $400 or $500 for 18 holes on that Wynn course. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, but now you get to stare at the Sphere for almost your entire round. So,
There are some there's one tee shot that I've seen on social media where the Sphere is directly behind the green, just staring at you as you have driver out on a par 4. So it's just like, where do I aim? Well, right side of the fairway is like his left eyebrow when he's winking at you. And then, you can hit the corner of his mouth if you just want to hit it by the bunker over there. Some very interesting sights, needless to say, for golfers playing at the Wynn Golf Course due to the Sphere now.
All right. If you like that conversation with JJ, make sure you punch that subscribe button, by the way.
Yes.
It's somewhere on your podcast app. If you're driving right now, that's perfectly fine. When you're parked at your destination, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't get out of your car until you do that.
We're desperate for followers and attention, but we're not that desperate. We don't want to risk anyone's life along the way.
I want you to keep following. I don't want you to follow, but then shortly after not be able to follow anymore.
Well said. Yeah, that's well said. Yeah.
But you can also follow us on Instagram and Threads. COL Podcast is the official account. Course of Life Alex is him. I'm MWRINC. We're on Twitter /X, Course of Life 1 and MWRINC. Of course, we're on YouTube. Course of Life Podcast, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, all those places. And if you want to see pictures of food, and who doesn't, it's Always End With Food on Instagram, where you can see great pictures of food that we post there as well. Let's talk college football. It was week 7, and your picks, Alex, are still. I mean, you had a good week last week, but we're back in the shitter.
Yeah, back to the mediocrity again after a winning week, 4-6. I missed 3 games that didn't cover by a point or two. And but the highlight definitely was the Oregon-Washington game. Shout out to Washington. That's right, Washington, Mike, putting themselves in the college football playoff conversation after beating Oregon at home. Very impressive stuff. Yeah,
the Pac-12. Are they going to go out in style?
Yeah, what a way to finish, right? I said depth before death. That's my slogan for the Pac-12 this year. USC got their first loss, but nonetheless, that's a deep conference. My Longhorns coming off that rough Oklahoma loss. They had the bye. Now they go to play Houston, who won on a Hail Mary last week. I like their chances there, but overall, I got to find more winners. That's the name of the game. You can check out my preview on runyourpool.com for my weekly picks. But follow along on Twitter and Threads, Course of Life 1, Course of Life Alex, for the Saturday morning card. And hopefully we can get back to the winning ways.
On the NFL side, our favorite teams are not winning in any way, shape, or form. Let's talk about my Giants, who had a chance at the last second to win the game with the backup quarterback under center because Jones was out with his neck injury. And, hey, they lost. So what do you know?
Tyrod Taylor almost got it done, man.
Yeah.
It looked good for a bit because you got off to it was one of those nice, decently slow games where it was low scoring to start and the underdog stands a chance in that moment. But the Bills eventually broke through when they needed to get the scores to win. And that's the agony. I'm starting to learn of the agony of watching bad teams or your team be bad is that they can find new ways to lose that just rip your heart out in a seemingly different direction each week. That's the amazing part of having a bad NFL team.
Alex, I want to welcome you, brother, to having a shitty team in the NFL.
How does everyone out there do this where their team just loses?
Look,
how do you do that? How do you get through Sundays?
Let me tell you how we do it. So during the majority of the season and for most seasons overall during our lives, we throw things at the television and lament the horribleness that is our football team.
Okay,
but then every once in a while, from a blue moon, our team just clicks and things start working and you beat the Patriots twice in 2 different Super Bowls and stop Tom Brady and everything feels great and right in the world. And then you go back to being shit. So as a Giants fan, at least that's what it's like. For you Patriot fans who don't know what it's like to lose, now it's time to lose.
Yeah, we're basically the only child, and this is speaking from real facts, we're basically the only child that's had all their toys taken away right in the middle of their childhood. They've never had to fight for anything before. All we've done is win with the greatest football player ever. And now we just lose all the time.
I don't know if you've had your toys taken away. I think you've grown up and now you're in school and you're realizing that the world is a cruel place and your parents didn't prepare you for the world in the right way.
There's a bigger theme here, really. It's about my lack of success in life as it pertains to the Patriots. I was just riding their coattails from age, 13 to 33. And then, I had to get off the carpet ride, I guess. And now Sundays are very normally losing, as the Patriots did yet again in Vegas. Things like, is it time to tank? Do I want the Patriots to keep losing to get a higher draft pick? These are things I have not said since the 1990s when I was barely a boy. And here we are having those conversations again.
What are you going to do with a higher draft pick? You going to get another quarterback?
Yeah, we'll probably. My thing is, I don't think Belichick's going to mess up again at quarterbacks. I think we're just going to get some veteran who's just past his prime as a free agent for quarterback next season. I don't think we're going to go back to the well and draft one at a high pick. But I'm gonna play around with the idea for the next 6 or 7 months, since that's what you do when you have a bad team. You don't get excited about Sundays. You watch on Saturdays to see who might be on your team next year because your team stinks this year. I'm starting to get that rhythm now.
Okay. Well, welcome to the future.
It's great. It really is. It's tough.
Let's hashtag always end with food.
Yep. Food segment to end every Course of Life podcast. Always end with food on Instagram. We talked about it last week. I'll start with the Thanksgiving theme reveal. The people spoke. I put the poll out on Instagram. It's going to be the football foods Thanksgiving this year, Mike. We're doing the turkey legs, the pizza, the snacks. What a charcuterie, dips. What would you expect to see if you were going to go to a football themed Thanksgiving spread?
Well, I know, like I said last week, turkey legs, smoked turkey legs.
Yep. Okay.
I expect to see ice cream sundaes and helmets.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Yeah. That's a gold dessert right there. That is gold, Jerry, gold.
Chips and salsa, or, guac if you're into that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, maybe even you could do like pigs and blankets or something, like that, or little smokies or something.
There we go. I like it. Yeah. The menu is coming together. We're gonna have a fun guest in a couple weeks, in Brandy Malloy, who's been on the show, and we're gonna ask her for her advice as well too. So that's the official reveal. As we're going with the football foods for Thanksgiving. So let the planning begin. Let's get to your first of two fried things we need to address, and always end with food as well.
Well, so I've been messing around in the bakery, and we're working on a donut.
Intriguing.
And it's as spectacular as you think it would be, because why wouldn't it be? We still got some kinks to work out, some of the proof and rise to work out on it, but damn, it's good. Let me tell you, fried dough is fantastic.
Yeah, it's hard to beat a good fried donut, man. And just hits appropriately. I mean, what's the I mean, obviously you're just making what are you making? What people would call a plain or a Dunkin' Donuts old fashioned donut, and going off from there. Or what are you currently doing flavor wise?
I mean, right now it's just a plain donut, and we're just throwing whatever glazes we have on hand on top of it just to taste it. And it's then the donut holes we're just tossing in cinnamon sugar, and those are like crack cocaine. So
that's really all you need to do, honestly.
And let me tell you, a freshly fried donut is so good. It's just so good.
A fried donut with cinnamon and sugar appropriately lathered on it, just in terms of just simplicity, that's just like maybe the greatest dessert known to man. That I would that's going to rank very high on a lot of people's list if I just describe it as just that, just a fried donut with cinnamon and sugar. That wins in a lot of circles.
It's true. It's fantastic.
One other random fried thing I came across: my favorite burger place, Mighty Fine in Austin, Texas. Okay, burger place. They do a country fried burger. I got it for the first time. I've seen it on the menu for years. I was feeling a little randy and wanted to do something wild. So I got the country fried burger. Essentially, they basically just take the burger patty and they just give it the same treatment and breading that they would give to their fried chicken sandwich, which they also serve. Comes with all the usual burger condiments. It was delightful. A little heavier than you would imagine in terms of a typical burger experience, but I'm all in on the fried burger. Have you seen anything like that before?
No, but I thought when I read this in the notes as a fried burger, that it was going to be a burger, bun and all, and toppings that then is dipped and fried.
Fully encased is what you were looking at.
That's what I was expecting you to tell me.
Yeah.
Instead, you're giving me a country fried, a chicken fried burger patty.
Exactly.
On a burger. And that really doesn't interest me.
Yeah, I mean, again, it took me a few years to get there, so it didn't really interest me at first. But I was feeling something vivacious, and I went for it. I think it's one of those things you just mix it in, maybe 1 out of 10 visits. But I would stick with the regular burger there. They do a great job with the classic as is. But an interesting fried experience there as well too. A country fried burger. It was definitely a first for me.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Indeed. All right, that was Always End with Food, putting a wrap on this week's Course of Life podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. Be sure to check out the Austin Gamblers this weekend and their PBR finals. Follow us along on socials and YouTube. The video drops by Friday, and we'll see you next week for another Course of Life.